Well, first of all, Amber, they're going to announce them tomorrow. But when you say sweeping changes, it's everything from pastoral leadership to the mass schedule itself. The Catholic Church here in Cincinnati has been studying the state of the church, if you will, its vibrancy over the last year. And this is what it's discovered, that there is a priest shortage. They're just stretched very thin throughout the archdiocese, all throughout the area. Also, there's a decline in attendance. And then the other thing is there's an abundance of church structures, or churches in this case, that are really being underutilized. The statistic that the Catholic Church has given me that on any given Sunday, a church is about a third full. So tomorrow, what they're going to do is release the rough draft, if you will, the initial plan on how they're going to take parishes and lump them together, as they call it, a family of parishes, and move forward in a restructuring project, if you will, with the Catholic Church. From there, it will not be finalized. Parishioners will have about a month to give an opportunity to speak to their local leadership in their church, or make comments as well, and even just ask questions on what's happening before they finalize the plan in November, and then launch the new parishes in July of next year. Once the pastoral leadership is organized, this is the emotional aspect of what will happen in this news from the Catholic Church here. We know that the Cincinnati Catholic Church has a large footprint throughout the region, about 400,000 Catholics in the archdiocese. From there, these new family of parishes will get together another leadership group, and that's when they may have to make some difficult decisions. Possible things like, do they need certain buildings within that parish, or even possibly schools themselves? The Archdiocese is calling this entire project Beacons of Light. And Archbishop Dennis Schnur recently released a video to parishioners trying to answer some of their questions.
It's going to bring parishes together, and we will assess the resources of those parishes, and then put in place programs that parishes have been asking for, but we've not been able to provide because the resources weren't there.
Amber, what this is not tomorrow. Tomorrow it's the rough draft of how they plan to kind of reorganize the parishes. They are not closing churches. They are not closing schools tomorrow. That's not part of this phase at this point right now. That might be something that's evaluated down the road, but not for possibly several years to come. I just talked to one of the local priests here that was involved on the committee in dealing with some of the planning here, who also brought up the point of schools. I'm 50 years of age. When I was a kid, there were roughly about 100,000 students in Catholic schools here in the Cincinnati area. That's a point of pride for many people that grew up here. Right now, there's about 40,000. He said that's the reality that they're facing. They can't just say it's always business as usual, this is how we've always done it. They have to make changes with the times. That news will be announced right at 12 o'clock. So we'll have it on our website for you. We also will have more interviews that we have conducted over the week as the church is preparing to announce that initial draft in their plan. Reporting from downtown, I'm Chris Riva. Amber, we toss it back to you.
Definitely some major changes there. And you said that this is also sparking because of a shortage of priests. So are they going to recruit more priests? What is the plan for that? Are they going to make any rules as far as like maybe?
Well,
go ahead.
Well, that's an interesting paradox from that standpoint. The last 2 years, they've had more individuals, men, enter the priesthood and go to school over at the monastery on the east side than they've had in a decade. But right now, they just have too many shortage of pastors. Sometimes in the past, it would take 10 to 20 years to become a pastor once you became a priest. They pushed some of those pastors in the 80s and the 90s into that pastoral role. They said way too soon, which also compounded the problem. So they say 5 to 10 years from now, they're going to be looking good from the priest shortage standpoint. But right now, they're just stretching their priests too thin. Part of their problem is they have a lot of priests that are working right now that are past the age of possibility of retirement, or getting to the age where they're going to be forced to retire as well. Amber?
7-0. We had a long discussion in the sports department tonight. The CMAC isn't getting enough love. Let's change that. So we're going to do like Steve Winwood and bring you a higher love, CMAC. West High and Taft. That's a fumble recovered by the Senators. Here comes Jamar Richardson, #1 on the roster, #1 in your hearts. Senators on the board. Do we have a 2-point conversion in the highlights tonight? We do! Oh, if you...
Down on the tailpipe.
Gavin Crawford has it. 2-point is good. Need to see some defense, though. This is the hit of the night. Whack. Vincent Hargrove and Everett Brown. You're going to feel me. Taft is 4-2. They win it 36-0.
Under investigation tonight in Cincinnati that happened around 5:30 at a 3-unit apartment building on Warwick Avenue. Cincinnati District 1 Fire Chief Matthew Roderick says one person and 2 dogs were in the building at the time. The person and both dogs were able to get out of the building safely. No injuries reported. Damage is estimated about $75,000.